Amara stood before the mirror in her wedding dress, her dark skin glowing against the ivory fabric. Growing up in Lagos, she had always dreamed of finding a loving husband with a welcoming family. When she met Kofi, a handsome black African doctor with a charming smile and deep brown eyes, she believed her prayers had been answered. "You look stunning," her mother whispered, adjusting Amara's head wrap. "Are you ready?" Amara nodded, her heart fluttering with excitement and nervousness. The wedding was small but elegant, held at Kofi's family estate, a sprawling colonial-style mansion nestled in a dense forest outside of Accra. The isolation bothered her slightly, but Kofi had explained his father, a wealthy black African businessman named Dr. Nkosi, valued privacy. During the ceremony, Amara couldn't help but notice the strange glances exchanged between Kofi's siblings, two sisters, Zuri and Nia, both striking black African women with high cheekbones and unusually intense stares, and his brother Jabari, tall and imposing with a permanent scowl etched on his handsome face. At the reception, Dr. Nkosi, a distinguished black African man with salt and pepper hair and cold eyes, approached Amara with a glass of champagne. "Welcome to the family," he said, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. "We have a tradition for new members. A game we play after the festivities." "A game?" Amara asked, accepting the drink. "Yes," he replied. "It's been our family custom for generations. Kofi will explain later." As night fell and the guests departed, Kofi led Amara to the family's grand living room where his relatives waited. The modern furnishings contrasted with ancient-looking artifacts displayed in glass cases, tribal masks, ceremonial daggers, and strange symbols carved into wooden plaques. "My love," Kofi said, his voice suddenly formal, "tonight we welcome you properly with the family game." "What kind of game?" Amara asked, noticing how the siblings had formed a semicircle around her. "It's simple," Zuri said, her dark eyes gleaming. "Hide and seek. You hide, we seek." Nia handed her a small wooden totem. "Keep this with you. It's for protection." "Protection?" Amara laughed nervously. "It's just a game, right?" Jabari's deep voice cut through the room. "Everything is just a game until it isn't." Dr. Nkosi clapped his hands once. "The rules are simple. You have 10 minutes to hide anywhere on the property. Then we come looking. If we find you before sunrise, you lose." "And if I win?" Amara asked, clutching the totem. Kofi squeezed her hand. "Then you truly become one of us." Something in his tone made Amara's skin prickle. These people, these strangers now her family, suddenly seemed like different people entirely. "The game begins now," Dr. Nkosi announced, starting a timer. "Run, daughter-in-law. Run and hide well." Amara hesitated, looking at Kofi for reassurance, but his once warm eyes now held a predatory gleam. On instinct, she kicked off her heels and fled from the room, the wooden totem clutched in her trembling hand, wondering what kind of family she had really married into. Amara's heart pounded as she raced through the unfamiliar corridors of the mansion. The wedding dress hampered her movement, so she tore away the lower portion, leaving her legs free. What had started as a strange game was quickly becoming something more sinister, she could feel it in her bones. The sprawling house seemed to shift and change as she navigated its passageways. Portraits of stern-faced black African ancestors lined the walls, their eyes following her movements. Amara ducked into what appeared to be a library, frantically searching for a hiding place or perhaps a way to understand what was happening. The room was filled with ancient books, their spines adorned with strange symbols. On an ornate desk sat a leather-bound journal. Something compelled Amara to open it, and what she found made her blood run cold. Inside were detailed accounts of previous games, all involving new spouses who had married into the family. Beside each name was a date and a disturbing notation: sacrifice completed or vessel prepared. With trembling fingers, she flipped through the pages, finding photographs of wedding days dating back decades. Each showed a smiling black African bride or groom, unaware of their fate. The final pages contained instructions for a ritual described as the harvest, a ceremony requiring the blood of an unsuspecting outsider who had willingly joined the family through marriage. The blood would feed an ancient spirit that granted the family wealth, power, and longevity. "Oh God," Amara whispered, clutching the wooden totem Nia had given her. Looking closer at the small carving, she noticed it wasn't a protection charm at all, it was a tracking device, symbols carved into it matching those in the journal. A noise outside the library door startled her. Amara quickly ripped a few telling pages from the journal and stuffed them into her bodice before hiding behind a large bookcase. The door creaked open, and Zuri entered, her elegant wedding attire replaced by a dark robe adorned with the same symbols from the journal. "Amara," she called, her voice melodic yet chilling. "I know you're in here. I can smell your fear." Zuri ran her slender black African fingers along the spines of the books. "The game is just beginning. My father has been keeping our family's power alive for generations. Kofi chose well, your spirit is strong. It will sustain us for many years." Amara held her breath, pressing herself against the wall. The wooden totem in her hand grew warm, almost burning her palm. On impulse, she threw it across the room. Zuri's head snapped toward the sound. "Clever girl," she murmured, moving away from Amara's hiding spot. "But not clever enough." As Zuri investigated the noise, Amara noticed a small window slightly ajar. With the family distracted by the totem, this might be her only chance. She slipped from her hiding place and eased toward the window. Outside, the full moon illuminated the dense forest surrounding the property. As Amara squeezed through the opening, she heard Zuri's angry shout behind her. "She's escaping. The sacrifice is running." Barefoot and terrified, Amara sprinted into the darkness of the forest, the torn pages of the journal clutched against her chest, and the horrifying truth burning in her mind: this wasn't a game, it was a hunt, and she was the prey. The forest floor cut into Amara's bare feet as she ran, guided only by moonlight filtering through the canopy. Behind her, she could hear voices calling her name, sometimes sweet and coaxing, sometimes harsh and threatening. The beautiful black African family she had married into just hours ago was now pursuing her like a pack of predators. "Amara, my love," Kofi's voice echoed through the trees. "Come back to me. This is all a misunderstanding." She pressed on, trying to put distance between herself and the mansion. The pages from the journal revealed more horrors with each glance, photos of previous victims, all black African men and women who had married into the family, their eyes showing the exact moment they realized their fate. A twig snapped nearby. Amara froze, pressing herself against a massive baobab tree. Through the darkness, she could make out Jabari's tall silhouette, his muscular black African form moving with predatory grace through the underbrush. "Sister," he called out, his deep voice carrying through the night. "That's what you are now. Family. And family doesn't run from family." In his hand gleamed a ceremonial dagger, its blade catching the moonlight. Amara remained motionless until he passed, then continued in the opposite direction. The forest seemed endless, disorienting her with each turn. Just as despair began to set in, she stumbled upon a small clearing with what appeared to be an old groundskeeper's cottage. She slipped inside, finding it dusty but mercifully empty. Searching frantically, she discovered an old lantern and matches. With trembling hands, she lit it, keeping the flame low to avoid detection. In its dim light, she examined the cottage more carefully. The walls were covered with the same symbols from the journal, but these were different somehow, arranged in patterns that seemed protective rather than malevolent. A trunk in the corner yielded unexpected treasures: old clothing, a pair of boots that nearly fit, and most importantly, a leather pouch containing what looked like crushed herbs and minerals. A small note inside, written in faded ink, read, "To ward off the Nkosi curse. Blood must counter blood." As Amara struggled to understand the meaning, a soft voice spoke from the darkened doorway. I knew someone would eventually find this place. Amara whirled around to see Nia standing there. Unlike the others, the young black African woman wore no ceremonial robes, just her torn bridesmaid dress. "Please," Amara begged, backing away. "Don't hurt me." "I'm not here to hurt you," Nia said, her dark eyes filled with sadness. "I'm here to help you. I was like you once, married to Nkosi, destined for sacrifice. But I was carrying a child when they performed the ritual. It complicated things." She touched a scar running down her neck. "They couldn't complete the ceremony, but they couldn't let me go either. So they made me family in a different way." "Why are you helping me?" Amara asked, still keeping her distance. "Because it needs to end," Nia replied, her beautiful black African features hardening with determination. "My daughter, Kofi's niece, will be of age soon. Dr. Nkosi has already begun grooming her to bring in the next sacrifice." She pointed to the pouch in Amara's hand. "That contains the elements needed to reverse the ritual. But we need one more thing." "What?" "Blood of the eldest. Dr. Nkosi's blood. It must be willingly shed or taken in direct combat." Nia's eyes gleamed in the lantern light. "Dawn approaches. They'll be desperate now." A howl echoed through the forest, inhuman and chilling. "What was that?" Amara whispered. "The final phase has begun," Nia explained, fear evident in her voice. "When the ritual is threatened, the ancestor spirit partially manifests. Dr. Nkosi becomes its vessel. What do we do now?" "We fight," Nia said, pulling out a blade of her own. "Or we die trying." Dawn approached, painting the sky with streaks of crimson that reminded Amara of blood. She and Nia moved carefully through the forest, back toward the mansion that now seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. The herbs from the pouch had been mixed with water from a stream, creating a paste that Nia insisted they smear across their foreheads and throats. "It won't stop them," the black African woman explained, her elegant fingers applying the mixture to Amara's skin, "but it will shield us from the worst of their power." Amara shivered, clutching the ceremonial knife Nia had given her. "I can't believe this is happening. Yesterday I was getting married. Today I'm fighting for my life." "The Nkosi family has been doing this for generations," Nia said, her dark eyes scanning the forest. "They find someone suitable, always another black African of pure heart and strong spirit, convince them they're falling in love, and then the trap closes." A rustling sound from nearby put them on alert. Zuri emerged from between the trees, her once immaculate braids now wild, her elegant black African features contorted with rage. "Traitor," she hissed at Nia. "Father will flay the skin from your bones for this." Nia pushed Amara behind her. "Go. Head for the ritual room in the basement. I'll hold her off." Amara hesitated, but Nia's determined expression convinced her. She sprinted through the underbrush, Zuri's screams and Nia's defiant shouts echoing behind her. The mansion loomed ahead, its windows glowing with an unnatural light. Just as she reached the edge of the forest, a strong arm grabbed her from behind. Kofi's familiar scent filled her nostrils as he spun her around to face him. His handsome black African face, which had charmed her for months, now seemed like a mask hiding something monstrous. "Why did you run, my love?" he asked, his voice deceptively gentle. "The game isn't over." "This isn't a game." Amara spat, struggling in his grip. "You lied to me. Your whole family lied. You planned to sacrifice me all along." A sad smile crossed his face. "It's nothing personal. Someone must feed the ancestor spirit. It has granted our family wealth and power for centuries." His grip tightened painfully. "You should be honored. Your essence will live on through us." With strength born of desperation, Amara slammed her knee into his groin. As he doubled over, she slashed with Nia's knife, opening a gash across his cheek. Kofi howled, more in rage than pain, blood streaming down his dark skin. You'll pay for that, he growled, lunging for her. Amara dodged and ran for the house. Inside, she raced down corridors, searching for the basement entrance Nia had described. Behind her, Kofi's footsteps grew closer. She found the door, heavy, ancient wood with metal bands, and yanked it open, descending into darkness. The basement was lit by dozens of candles, illuminating a scene from nightmares. A stone altar stood in the center, surrounded by symbols drawn in what appeared to be dried blood. Dr. Nkosi stood before it, no longer fully human. His tall black African form seemed stretched, his skin glistening with an oily sheen, his eyes completely black. "You've arrived just in time," he said, his voice layered with another, older voice beneath it. "The sun is about to rise." Jabari emerged from the shadows, dragging a bleeding Nia. "Found this one trying to interfere, father." Amara's heart sank, but Nia caught her eye and gave an almost imperceptible nod toward Dr. Nkosi. "The blood of the eldest," Amara whispered, remembering the instructions. Understanding dawned, she needed to somehow get Dr. Nkosi's blood, willingly given or taken in combat. Kofi stumbled down the stairs behind her, touching his wounded face. "She cut me, father." "Perfect," Dr. Nkosi said. "The ritual requires blood spillage. Yours will make an excellent beginning." He turned to Amara, extending a hand. "Come, daughter-in-law. Embrace your destiny." The ritual room pulsed with otherworldly energy as Dr. Nkosi approached Amara, his transformed appearance growing more terrifying with each step. His black African features had stretched into something ancient and inhuman, his ancestors' spirits partially manifesting through him. "Your resistance is admirable," he said, his voice echoing strangely in the chamber. "But futile. Many have tried to escape their fate. All have failed." Amara clutched Nia's knife, backing toward the altar. "Why? Why do this to innocent people?" "Innocent?" Dr. Nkosi laughed, the sound like shattering glass. "No one is innocent. Our ancestors understood this. Power requires sacrifice. Our family's prominence, our wealth, our influence in this world, all of it comes from the blood pact made centuries ago." Zuri appeared at the top of the stairs, her elegant black African form bloodied but triumphant. "The sun rises, father. We must complete the ritual now." Amara's mind raced. The journal pages, Nia's instructions, they all pointed to one solution. The blood of the eldest, willingly given or taken in combat. Her eyes darted to Nia, who was struggling against Jabari's grip. "I understand now," Amara said, straightening her posture. "And I accept my role in your family." Dr. Nkosi paused, surprise flashing across his distorted face. "You accept? If this is my destiny, I embrace it," she continued, stepping forward. "But the ritual must be done properly, yes? According to tradition?" Suspicion and curiosity warred in his expression. "What do you know of our traditions?" "Enough," Amara replied, moving closer to the altar. "I know the sacrifice must come willingly at the end. I know the eldest must anoint the chosen one." She set down Nia's knife on the altar stone. "I am ready." A triumphant smile spread across Dr. Nkosi's face as he approached her. Behind him, Kofi and Zuri exchanged confused glances, while Jabari maintained his hold on Nia. "You are wiser than the others," Dr. Nkosi said, reaching for a ceremonial bowl. "They fought until the end, making their passing painful. Yours will be swift." As he reached for a dagger on the altar, Amara struck. With one fluid motion, she snatched up Nia's knife and slashed it across Dr. Nkosi's palm. Blood, thick and oddly luminescent, spilled into the ceremonial bowl he had just picked up. "Blood of the eldest, taken in combat," she shouted, grabbing the bowl before it could fall. Dr. Nkosi roared, a sound that shook the foundations of the house. "Stop her." But Amara was already moving, splashing the blood onto the central symbol on the floor. The effect was immediate, the candles flared, then extinguished. A howling wind seemed to rise from nowhere. "What have you done?" Kofi screamed over the maelstrom. Nia broke free from Jabari's grip in the confusion. "She's broken the pact," she cried, her dark eyes wide with a mixture of fear and hope. The symbols on the floor began to glow, then crack. Dr. Nkosi fell to his knees, his transformed appearance beginning to revert, revealing the ordinary, if distinguished, black African man beneath. The power that had sustained him for decades was draining away. "No," he wailed, reaching toward the altar. "Ancestors, do not forsake us." A deafening crack split the air, and the stone altar broke in two. From the fissure, a blinding light erupted, followed by screams, not from anyone in the room, but from something ancient and furious being torn from this world. Amara grabbed Nia's arm. "We need to get out. Now." They raced up the stairs as the basement began to collapse behind them. The entire mansion seemed to be coming apart, walls cracking, floors buckling. They fled through the main hall toward the front entrance. Outside, the sun had fully risen. As they reached the safety of the forest's edge, they turned to witness the Nkosi mansion collapse in on itself, as if being pulled into the earth. "Is it over?" Amara asked, breathless. Nia nodded, tears streaming down her beautiful black African face. "The pact is broken. The ancestor spirit is banished. And your daughter? Your family?" "Free," Nia whispered. "Finally free." They stood in silence, watching as dust rose from the ruins. There was no sign of Dr. Nkosi, Kofi, Zuri, or Jabari. "What will you do now?" Nia asked after a long moment. Amara looked down at her torn wedding dress, now stained with dirt and blood. The gold band on her finger caught the morning light. With a decisive motion, she pulled it off and threw it toward the ruins. "Live," she said simply. "And make sure no one ever rebuilds on that cursed ground." Nia nodded, understanding in her eyes. "And I will ensure this story is told. A warning to others." As they walked away from the ruins, two black African women who had survived the darkness, Amara realized that some games were never meant to be played, and some families were best left alone.